Hello, whoever decided to click on this video. Today I'm going to be making another metal sculpture. After making those metal roses in the last video, I decided I wanted to do some more foliage related things and make some more leaves because that was very effective, and I wanted to push myself here with the bird. So I'm very excited about this project. Let's get straight into it. Started with a sketch that I was very happy with. Okay, for the main branch on this thing, I'm going to be using this round stock and taking this hammer right here with the round side of the hammer. You see how this side is slightly round when you look at it at the end, where the other side's flat? Using the round side in order to hit this to make the end thin at the end, like a branch would be, and use that round side to texture up everything. You can see it's all textured up now, and I think that'll look a lot more natural and branch-like. I already have a fracture right there in the tip, so I'm going to take the grinder and lop that off and then round out the edge. I think part of the reason that happened is that there were saw marks, so there were all these grooves going this way that caused that to start. I think with it being rounded out and then watching my hits in the end, that won't keep happening, but I don't want it to continue happening at the moment, so cutting it off. New grinder, by the way, the cheap one from Harbor Freight, so let's see how good it is. They're really like 40 bucks. Feels just like any other grinder. Turns out that didn't stop our cracking problem. Okay, so now that I've forged the end of this down a decent amount, I'm going to cut and clean up the end and then take the bar that I'm using for all the small little branches on this thing everywhere. I'm going to use and stick on the end here so that it's consistent with everything else, because at the end of every branch it's about the same size. So I think it'd end up coming out better if I weld this to here, and then I'll end up forging this down and making the transition a little better after that. So we'll see how well forging over welds goes. Never done it before. Theoretically, if my weld's good, shouldn't be a problem. I'll go out on a limb and say that our limb is looking pretty good. Pretty close to the original. Before we move on to the other parts of these branches, I'm going to build what's going to mount this to the wall, just so that I can actually put it up on something. I think that'll just help me visualize everything a little better. So we're going to take this big thick pipe, cut a chunk off of that, and then take this sheet metal, cap it off, build some places for screws to go into the backside, so it's all hidden and nice and clean. And yeah, I'm gonna get out the chop saw. I have this little bracket here with these slots for screws to go into, and I'm going to take and chop them off with a round end so that they can go on the back side of this. I drilled out the holes to be a little bit bigger so that I can use a slightly bigger screw, because I don't think this whole project will be all that heavy, but I want it to be able to stay on the wall. I also popped the screw on the back of the board so I can just hang it here And that way I can just have the branch sticking out here, and as I work I can bring pieces up and be like, oh, is that the right size? What's that? How does it look in the air? So I think that'll give me a better result than it just be kind of willy-nilly around here, not the right orientation. And just as quickly as that, we have a pretty natural looking metal stick here. Now, at the moment it looks like a dead stick because there's no leaves. So let's fix that. Actually, I lied. That's not the next thing. Hold on. I picked these up from Ace. They are metal ball bearings for bearings, obviously. But they are perfect and perfect size to be the little berries that we got. These things right here. I'd say so far we're looking pretty dang close to our reference image. We got a lot of cleaning up to do in all these little welds and everything like that. So that is next. Then leaves. Alrighty, now I'm going to switch from a burr bit like this that removes a lot of material but leaves a lot of marks and stuff here to something like this or this to get all in there and smooth everything out. I didn't mention this earlier, but look at all the different colors that the berries turned into. We got like a brassy bronze and blues. There's a purple one over here, a little bit of purple and blue. It's all based on the different temperatures they got up to as I welded them on, so that's kind of cool. Anyways, before we start making the leaves for this thing, we have to make a tool to make the leaves for this thing. So I'm going to take this chisel and I'm going to put this collar over it, hammer it flat so this can't rotate in it, and then, well, I can just show you. It's way easier to show you as I do it. So let's get to it. So I hammered two sides of this flat, so now it cannot rotate on here, but it can still slide, which is what we want. And boom, there's our tool. When I first finished it, there was a really lot of wobble in the end of the chisel. There still is a little bit, but the groove helps it stay in place. But before it was jumping around so bad that it wasn't really working. But now it's it's working pretty well, and I'll show you how it works. And there we go. We have a raised edge on that side and a pushed in one on that side. All right, I got a leaf shape now. We're gonna give it a go. Look at that. I think that turned out pretty dang good. This also gives this leaf way more rigidity, obviously. And man, I think it worked pretty dang good. I do think I should have started with the outer ones and then done the middle one, because you end up kind of ruining your middle one, and it ends up getting in the way when you want to do it something at an angle here. But do the side ones, then do the middle one. And I'm really, really happy with that. So it's a pretty successful leaf. I'd call that a successful tool make. It's not perfect, and there's a lot of things I could definitely do better about it, but for something like this, it's perfect. Now it's just time to make a whole lot more. I don't think I want quite as many leaves as there are in the drawing. They look pretty good in the drawing, but I think it might get pretty cluttery whenever I bring it over here. So instead, I'm going to start marking out a bunch of leaves in paper and sticking them on here and seeing where I want them and what's going to look good, and then I will go and cut them out. Alright, I'm pretty happy with the leaf placement. We went from about like 24 leaves here to 17 here, but that is still a lot of work, so I got my work cut out for me. But yeah, let's get cutting. If anyone's wondering, this is 22 gauge steel. It's pretty much perfect for me for making these leaves, because it's right on the edge of where I can cut it out with the tin snips, but it's pretty easy to form around and thick enough to hold its rigidity, especially with these grooves in it. Next, I moved on to making my Cardinal. I printed out a 2-scale image, which was very helpful in the process of making this thing. And I'm going to start here with the beak. I ended up using flathead screws for the eyes, which worked really well. I just had to make sure that they were oriented in the same way, and they kind of look like eyelids, so it kind of looks like the bird is squinting or closing its eyes. So I thought that was cool and very effective. Alright, I'm going to move back up to the head and finish the head crest here. Alrighty, so I've gone ahead and made a little piece right here that kind of creates the back, gives the back a little shape, and then starts the front shape of the wing. And now I'm going to create pieces that come back here for the rest of the wing, and we'll groove them just as we grooved the tail. Well, there is all the metalworking done. I think it looks pretty dope. I'm very happy with how it looks right now. Almost tempted to leave it like this, but my plan is to paint it. So let's get into that. All right, so I've decided that on the branch, instead of painting it, I am going to hot glue it, which means I will be taking this torch and heating it up to where it's about that blue color. If you've heated up metal before, you know what I'm talking about. And then I'm going to take some used motor oil on a rag and and wipe it on there. And this should darken it to like a nice dark gray bluish color, which I think will look nice and leave a little bit of that metal in that finished result, which I kind of want. So let's get into it. I don't know if it comes across well on camera, but this gives a really cool dark effect, and it kind of has a bit of tinges of blue and brown in it, and it's just super cool effect that's just a little better than paint and just feels really nice, and it is a natural patina to the metal, and it'll protect it from rust and everything. So I'm really happy with it. The effect is super dope, especially in person. You can kind of see some of the colors in that puck there. Very happy with this. Now I'm taking a little bit of this steel wool sheet stuff, and I'm actually knocking back some of that bluing that we did, just to reveal the very edges of all of the texturing that I did, to make it really pop and really show up better. If you can see a little bit, kind of like right in here where you can see the edges, and it just makes it all pop a little bit more. Got it all taped up and ready for paint. In some of the harder to reach areas, like up in here, I took some liquid latex and painted up those areas. If you can see that, a little bit of liquid latex on there, so that should prevent the paint from getting there. And let's paint these leaves. Because I'm impatient, all the leaves have been covered with paper towels and taped on top of the paper towels, because the green's probably not quite dry enough for painter's tape to be on without removing or lifting the paint. So hopefully this doesn't. If it does, then, well, I guess I have to be more patient. Anyways, time for some red. Next, I moved on to hand painting, just painting on some of the details that were different colors, making the bird two-tone, because if you look at cardinals, they kind of have a lighter back, giving the leaves a little bit of a variation and a dry brush to them. Alright, now that I have all my base coats done, I'm going to go ahead and clear coat it with some of this Rust-Oleum clear in order to protect what I have, and then I'm going to go in with some oil paints and weather this thing up and make it look all grimy. Because man, we don't want clean stuff. Finally, in my paint process, I did a wash with oil paints, so I took a brown and a black oil paint and basically just smothered the thing in that and then wiped it back off to give it that antiqued or weathered look.